have hunted a lot of stuff, and coyote is by far the smartest animal I've ever hunted.
Yeah.
So do you think the coyote hunting has a lot of similarities to turkey because you can actually call and you have to fool that animal?
Absolutely. They get the same look on their face when they figure it out.
What's the closest you've been able to call one up to you?
A coyote, I've shotgunned 3 or 4. The closest one I've killed was probably 15 yards maybe.
Oh, that's in your lap.
That is
Yeah.
nothing but a ditch splitting us.
Did you watch him come the whole way too?
No, when they get that close, they just appear in front of you.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of how predator hunting is. You're scanning and looking, and all of a sudden it's standing there looking at you.
Hey, welcome back to the Buck Junkie Podcast. We're back down here at the farm, and we got a special guest today, y'all.
Yeah, my name is Mark Williams.
Mark and Jamie are back. They're special today. They're not out cooking today, but we got Mr. Zane Stricklin here with us, and Zane is fresh off the Texas turkey hunt that me and Mikey talked about last week while y'all were out. He was the third man on that trip, so I figured we'd touch a little bit about that today. Zane, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great.
Good to have you here at Buck Junkies. Not only did you go with us, but you're kind of a neighbor here. You live pretty close by, and we hunt. I don't know if our land actually touches where we hunt, but we hear some of the same birds.
I mean, during turkey season, it probably does touch.
just a smidge. You know, we got the lease, and it joins y'all. But.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that side. I was thinking about your house, but yeah, your lease is right on that side too. So.
Absolutely.
So sum up your turkey season this year. We're at the last week of it here. It's fixing to end. I guess Wednesday is over for us in Mississippi. So how's your season been?
So it started off kind of rocky. I was kind of nervous at first that I wasn't going to be able to get all mine done, but it worked out. I carried my wife with me on the first bird I killed, which that's still a sore subject around my house. I took her, and she's been going with me a couple of years, and she still hadn't been able to get a bird, but we went to a place down the road here. It's pretty close to the house, and we called one up. And where the turkey stopped, she couldn't shoot it, and I ended up shooting it running away, and it was a extremely long walk back to the truck.
Oh, I bet she shoot that look at you? Or?
Oh, man, it was more than a look. It was
So I think that's some kind of turkey hunting strategy. Everybody out here that carries their wife, they can't get on the bird.
I was fixing to talk about. Go ahead, Mark. Tell Zane Jody's experience. He's been trying to get her one for
4 years, probably.
4 years.
And they've had birds come up every time. And this is your situation. It didn't come up in front of her. It happened to be at the bead of his gun, and he's killed it. Well, this weekend, sorry, Rachel, we're going to talk about you. They got one up Saturday morning. She pulled the trigger, didn't touch it. Sunday morning, she pulled the trigger, didn't touch it. So, and obviously, I think I'd snatch that red dot off.
So we're going to ask you about that.
So, yeah, I was going to say, not only does Zane heck of a turkey hunter, but you also deal in setting up guns and some stuff like that. Yeah, you've got a couple for me. You got your FFL, I guess?
Absolutely. I got FFL a little less than 3 years ago. And I sold guns for the first year of it, and then I got my SOT too, so I could deal in suppressors and stuff too. And that's been the last 6 months. That's been my main selling point because they're getting approved so fast. Well, a lot with that.
So you set up my turkey gun with one of those red dots, or it was a Holosun red dot, the holographic, I guess they call it.
That's correct.
And Mark, what did Jody buy for this gun he got? So we wanted to ask you what your thoughts were on it.
I don't think it's the Vortex. It may be the Beers. Maybe.
Burst Fast Fire.
Yeah. But me and him sighted in. It's a 28 gauge Mossberg. Shoots excellent. And sighted in. It was dead on 30, 40, 50. She shot it. My understanding, the shot hit low and left, or low and right. Went back to camp. They shot it again. Sure enough, I mean, it was like 1.5 foot low, 1.5 foot right. And then they reset it, shot it dead on. Next morning, same thing. Shot it that afternoon, same thing. 1.5 foot low, 1.5 foot right.
So have you ever seen one of those red dot sights do that, get off that bad?
It's like the dot floats around in there. It's not fixed. I don't understand.
With the Holosun, I'm not as familiar with the Burris.
She was, I think both shots, she was kind of not in a comfortable position. So you might not be looking through it, but I've always been told on them, you put the dot on it, it's on it.
That's what whenever we started putting red dots on rifles and stuff, like assault rifles and stuff like that, that was one of the main selling points on that, was that it didn't matter where you were behind the gun, the dot is supposed to be true.
That makes zero sense to me. How if
That
you're
works.
not perfectly in line down the gun with the dot, how it's on.
I don't know how all that
Yeah.
works.
Well, I tell you what got me on is like I can still see my bead in mine.
Yeah.
The dot is not on the bead.
It is not.
And so when you shoot, I'm thinking, man, if I was on this bird, I'd need to be down. I know I'd need to be down lower to see the line of sight better, but I've got a pretty good gap, and I should be shooting. I would think you were going to shoot low, but it doesn't. It shoots on. I hadn't had mine floats around like y'all are talking about. When you look at it, depending on what angle you are, that thing will move on you. Yeah. But out of the box, they're supposed to be true once you get it patterned in. Now, did y'all pattern it with the same load?
We patterned it with just some whatever ammo. We got it close, and then we fine-tuned it with, I think he was shooting
one of the rounds she was hunting with?
Yeah. I can't remember which one it was. It might have been the Ninjas, maybe. I think
it
Apex.
was.
9.5 and 10s, I think is what's in it.
So it was a TSS load.
Yeah. It pattern's great. I mean, it's a heck of a gun, but I don't understand. And she's a good shot, like not taking nothing away from her. The girl can shoot. So something outside of their control is happening.
Yeah.
But
Well, what I was thinking, if you got it on paper and it's patterned, even with field shots, that's how we started on mine, and then we moved into the round we was going to hunt, it shouldn't get that out of bad left and right. I could understand maybe up and down some,
But not both.
but left and right, there's no way for that to move unless it's getting turned, right?
I wouldn't think so.
and it's really, that's another thing is like, it's not much that holds them little red dots on, but it's not much to a red dot. Like, it's not like a rifle scope that weighs a pound, pound and a half.
Yeah.
Like, it weighs absolutely nothing. So it's not like recoil should be an issue, or it don't stick up enough to bump it on anything, I wouldn't think. And, I mean, as much as I've seen Jody put his red dot through, they're pretty resilient. They're pretty dang tough.
I would look at the mounting system, see
Yeah,
how it
make
mounts to
sure-
the gun, make sure all that's good and tight.
Hopefully, they're flying out to North Dakota this week, so it better be on.
Yeah, he better take a backup gun.
I told him, I said, you can take this old Benelli Nova. It's Old Faithful. Take it with you.
Speaking of backup guns, you never know when you're going to need one.
You never know. That happened to me in Texas. Like, we were sitting there, and it was one of the mornings we were set up on a roost, and the carrier bolt out of mine, I don't know if it got knocked out when I put the shell in when I sat down, because it was in there then. I didn't load my gun until I sat down. Well, after I took a shot at that bird, and I don't know how I missed it, but I missed it that morning.
Oh, I ain't heard this story.
Oh, yeah, you didn't listen to last week's podcast. Yeah, so I missed one. Well, Zane, you want to tell how that hunt went that morning? Me and Mikey had a long talk about it, so let's hear from your angle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so he's telling the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll listen to the podcast, didn't I?
He's going to rehearse it.
Yeah.
Did you listen to it?
I did. It was pretty accurate. It was real accurate. So this is the second morning, and we had a pretty rough first day. So we were all kind of let down just a little bit. The wind blew real hard, so the turkeys weren't responding. If they were responding, we couldn't hear them. But we knew where they were at. We knew where they were roosting from the prior morning, and we kind of knew which way they left that day. So we based our setup off of that. And it was just amazing to see those woods in Texas come alive, and we could see all the turkeys in the trees. It doesn't compare to what we have in
The
Mississippi.
mood quickly changed.
It does. It absolutely boosts your spirits.
Unreal.
It was unreal. I mean, we're looking at 10, 12, 15 gobblers. We don't know, because half of them went one way and half of them came to where we were at. So
At that point, I'm like, this is
They're all gobbling.
I would be thinking this is a done deal. I mean, I guarantee we're finna tote birds out.
Oh, it should have been that very first morning. I mean,
absolutely. Well, we are turkey hunting, so you can't say it's a done deal anytime until they're flopping. So we sat there. It got daylight. The birds started gobbling, and they were hammering.
So before, I want to ask this, because I haven't heard y'all's thorough story, and I wasn't there. Yeah. How much different is that gobble than Eastern? Like
it is
on the
different.
limb, will they gobble on the limb?
oh,
They
yeah.
gobble in the pitch black dark.
Pitch black dark. Pitch black. Like we would get out there at 5:45 a.m. Pitch black dark. Really need a flashlight to get in, and they're hammering when you're walking up there. You can hear them down in the canyon just hammering. And I don't know what it wasn't owls. It wasn't. I
don't know that I heard an owl while we were there.
No, the doves were getting them. The doves and the quail. They were gobbling at doves and quail.
That was pretty special to see.
And coyotes.
They gobbled at coyotes.
That was about it. There wasn't many crows either.
The quail, that was pretty special.
Yeah,
to hear them gobble.
To hear a quail make a turkey gobbler, that's like two of the most majestic birds together.
You're sitting there and the sun's getting ready to come up, and it was the most picturesque, unbelievable. It's like, man, am I watching TV? Am I watching this video on YouTube of these guys? It's some setup deal or something. It was unbelievable how it was. We don't have birds here like that. Now we got a ton of birds in Mississippi, but they do not act like those birds.
No, they don't. But as the birds start pitching down, we started calling to them, let them know we were there, and unlike on the first morning, the birds flew down. A lot of them flew down to the field that we were in. So that
on our side of a big creek.
ditch.
Yeah.
We had a hen come in first, and she kind of, I don't know if she boogered up at the decoy or what exactly happened there, and she kind of played off until we started back calling to her, kind of got aggressive with her. And when we did that, when me and the hen started communicating back and forth, it really started the gobblers to gobbling.
And they were
fired
one right
up.
after the other, fired up, strut. We could see them. You can see them strutting because we could probably see 250 yards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Clear.
Yeah, you could see them across that ditch strutting over there. So
it was like an island set up, and they had to cross this creek, run in this canyon, and they had to actually go down in it or fly across it to get to us. So, and they definitely wanted to come. I mean,
they did. When we got them all fired up, we knew pretty much they were coming at
that was the hard part for me, watching these jokers
and waiting.
Because I hadn't had a whole lot of experience of watching turkeys strut, and just watch these jokers blow up and strut, and you're fixing to have to shoot one of them, and time it right. It was, your heart is just out of your chest.
Go ahead and tell. We need to come up with a remote for Malcolm's gun to where we can do the safety ourselves and just keep him at bay until they get.
No, Zane was closest to me. Mikey was kind of behind us, set up filming. He had his gun laying down. Well, Zane was to my left, had his gun and was calling, and it was supposed to be my. Actually, we'd done worked this out. Me and Zane were going 1, 2, 3 them. 1, 2, 3 pull. That's what we were. If it worked out,
that's something you got to talk about up front too. If you're going to try to double with somebody, you need to know when your turn to squeeze the trigger is.
I think that was more restraint and experience on you than it was me, because you said, "All right, I'm gonna let you go first, then I'm gonna shoot." That way, you knew if you heard me squeeze, you were right.
That was my intention from the beginning. I was like, Malcolm just needs to shoot and get his, and then I can follow.
Clean up, man. Yeah.
But after the gobblers got over there, we had one gobbler come to the decoy. I'm talking about
whoop it.
Hard charge to it. Whooped it up for 10 minutes while we're working these other birds. There's a group of 3, probably. They're probably 40 yards past the decoy, and this other gobbler is whooping it. And we got real aggressive on the call with them, and they broke. And I told Malcolm, I was like, all right, they're coming. And it wasn't. Just a couple seconds after that, I was like, they're in range.
Yeah, get ready. You shoot right, you're going to shoot left.
So we, when the third gobbler separated from him, he probably separated him 10, 15 yards from him. And I was like, all right, I'm going to start counting. So I counted out. Malcolm shoots first. You can't hardly tell. I shot milliseconds after.
Yeah, it was that tight. It was like we had it down.
So
my bird. All you see is him flying off.
We got one bird flopping and 2 birds
one
flying
get gone.
off.
It got pretty hairy real fast, because at that point Mikey's still on camera. I'm going, that's my bird, the one that's down. That's the one that's down. I'm claiming it. And Zane the whole time's going, shoot that bird, because the one that was whooping up the decoy, he's still there, but he's trotting off. And I'm going, and so you can hear me on, I don't know if you can hear it on camera or not, but I'm going, my gun's jammed, because the daggum carrier blew out of it. I don't know if I was tucked in a wood pile pretty good. I don't know if it hit something on the reload or what, but it hung up, spit my carrier pull out, and then you're going, Mikey, shoot that bird. And so Mikey puts the camera, I guess, just on the ground. I don't know.
He probably
knocked it down.
Yeah, he knocked it down, but Mikey dirt rolled that other gobbler, so they ended up, I was supposed to be the man to shoot the bird.
Y'all could have had 3 down.
We could have easily had 3. We could have tripled. We should have, Because when we went back and watched that footage, and I hope though included on the video, you can see my shot just like goes through the bird. I mean, it hits everywhere around him, perfect around. Zane's bird is inches from mine. Mm-hmm. I'm talking, it wasn't if it was over 12, it was barely over 12. Yeah. That close where their heads were, and his dirt napped, and mine turned around and broke out. We've had some deer hunting stories where the wrong one got shot sometimes. Yeah. You don't think? Well, see, that's what Mikey said. He said, no, I don't know.
I mean, it is in the Reed blood.
We could have both shot the same bird. I don't know.
That happens.
All I know is we had a dead bird. Mikey had a dead bird. And this was second morning.
And you got a dead gun.
And I got a dead gun.
Yep.
But I didn't.
I wasn't going to argue with you about whose bird it was. I was like,
even though you knew it was yours.
I was pretty sure at the time, but I was like, man, I'm just happy to be here.
But the footage don't lie. The bird on the right clearly got missed, or he wasn't hurt at all. We looked for him, but after we got those birds cleaned, we got back on one, and I finally got that monkey off my back. I killed one. So
that was a good deal. That was a great first day.
What'd you think about Texas? Would you go back? Was it
absolutely
everything you wanted?
Back. I had been to Texas. I went to Texas when I was a kid and killed one out there. I'm maybe 10, 12 years old. But I had actually been to South Texas 7 years prior. The same week we were there, I found out after, thanks to some Facebook memories. And it was way different at this place we went. The birds I went the first time, anybody could kill them.
In South Texas?
You could slap a piece of tin and them birds will gobble and come to it. Those turkeys we hunted in Texas this time were tough.
Where do you think the difference was?
I think that either somebody brought them from Mississippi or some Mississippi boys had been out there hunting them.
Yeah. You know, we did find out that was the case. There have been some guys that have been coming for like 15 years. To that property from Mississippi. And their specialty was they wanted to call. They really didn't care if they killed the birds. They wanted to call birds in. So.
Is terrain different that much from North Texas, South Texas, or?
So the South Texas place I went to, it was generally flat.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of difference between there and where we were in North Texas.
Yeah, where we were is all pretty much canyons. I mean, at least that's where the birds were. I mean, there was some flat spots, but most of the time it was up on top of a plateau or something, or down in a bottom. But it wasn't. It was big elevation changes from where we were. But we got to go this morning. We're trying to get in. We got one more morning I could go, but this was so Zane met me down there at the ditch this morning, and we got on some birds. We had you kind of had an idea where they were going to be roosting because this is me being a rookie. I would have blowed them birds out as I would have drove right by where they were. And you said no, we need to walk in from the road, and that's kind of what we did this morning. We parked at the gate, the low gate. And we hit the inner trail, and because that was another thing, I was like, well, let's slip up here and get all the way down to that food plot. I was like, well, if these birds are roasted on the ditch, they're going to make silhouette us coming up that side. He said, we need to get on the inside of those woods. So we got on the trail that was on the inside and walked up, and sure enough, I mean, we got in there just past the power line, stood and listened a little bit, and heard the bird gobble, and he was right where we would have drove. So we knew we'd have blowed him out if we'd have went down there. Then we heard another one that was on down closer to the plot. Well, we got down in there and set up, and I thought we were fitting to have a dead bird in a matter of minutes.
I thought we were going to have a lot to talk about on this podcast this morning.
Yeah, but what do you think they did?
I think the turkeys around here are getting finished up, and I think that the gobblers are trying to maybe reestablish pecking order or something like that, and I think that maybe had something to do. But for the first 20 minutes after daylight, we had them gobbling. They were gobbling good.
We were in between them pretty much.
Absolutely. And they were responding to us. They just didn't come.
Everybody I've talked to said that turkeys have been off this year compared to previous years in Mississippi.
I would agree with that.
You got to look at the storms we've had this year come through here.
I think that had a lot to do.
That has a lot to do with it, I think.
I mean,
it's been pretty much 3 weekends in a row getting hammered by storms.
Yeah. Very rowdy, very aggressive storms, tornadoes. I mean, it's been a heck of a spring.
Well, I know from my experience what's been happening is them jokers will gobble in the morning first thing. And then when they come and they hit the ground, you may get a few out of them, and then they go radio silent, and we couldn't strike a bird. We came over here. We went around, tried to make our rounds here, tried to strike one. We went back over to give those birds a minute, see if they maybe broke off, got with the hen or something. Nothing. They have went quiet. But we've been seeing them in the fields in the afternoons. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. The strategy over there has been kind of tough.
Yeah, it is. And with this temperature rising up, I think they'll start using those fields a lot less.
I mean, my banty rooster didn't gobble this morning, so it's probably pretty quiet down here.
Well, I mean, typically we've got the crows keeping them going, but the crows weren't even going this morning. It was a perfect morning. I mean,
it was a good morning, but it was strange. They gobbled late. The crows started late. I don't know. I can't explain that.
It just happens that way.
So now what? One more day and
it's time to start running them traps. On our way in this morning, staying on that power line, we had 2 possums walked within grabbing distance of us. We just froze. Zane's like, here comes some possums.
A pair.
It was a
pair of possums.
We watched them walk down the whole power line and then cross and then come around a tree, and from me to your foot, a joker walked right to me. Zane, you had it on your phone. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of late. But then when we got set down and was messing with those birds, here come another one. And he smelled our tracks coming in. He finally broke off before he got to where we were sitting, but he was right on top of it. So we got a possum problem, Mark.
Are they as hard on turkeys as a coon?
I think they're opportunistic. I think they'll eat whatever they come across.
Yeah.
They ain't going to care.
Yeah.
If it's convenient, they getting it.
They ain't gonna turn it down.
So besides turkey hunting, you're pretty hard on the predators, aren't you, Zane?
I like to try to work on some coyotes from time to time.
That's what I wanted us to talk about a little bit today, and because we're kind of getting into it. And Jamie, we were talking. We was wanting to build a gun, a coyote setup.
Yeah, so I have no idea where to. You hear so many people go from like a 22 mag all the way up to a bigger caliber. So I don't know what's ideal for varmint hunting.
So let's talk about your coyote hunting. Zane.
Okay, so I have a rifle that I did not buy to coyote hunt. I shot a little PRS before COVID. It got too expensive to shoot. So I had a rifle that I got a pile of money invested in sitting in the safe. And I started getting into this coyote hunting. So I ended up having a 22 Creedmoor barrel cut for it, which is pretty much a 6.5 Creedmoor neck down to a 22. So I shoot a 75 grain bullet about 3,250 feet per second. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's getting there.
It shoots pretty flat. So, and having that rifle pre-set up, I didn't have to spend a whole bunch of money getting into coyote hunting. I have a clip-on thermal. It's a Pulsar Krypton, and it snaps right on the front of my day scope. So that allows me to shoot the same rifle day and night. And I have a...
Now, do you prefer that over having a straight thermal rig and a straight day rig?
So if I was going to start over and not have that rifle already, I probably would have built a designated night rig with something that was super light, something with a carbon fiber barrel or something like that, and a designated thermal rifle scope with a laser rangefinder built into it. So the way these thermals have evolved now, they have rangefinders built into them, and it does all the ballistic software solving for you. So all you got to do is range the coyote. It'll move the dot in your scope to where you need a hold. You put it on there and squeeze the trigger.
Because I've never been around. Me and Mark went on a hog hunt last year, and thermal is new to me, and it is definitely a judging distance is different.
You can't depth of perception of distance is
absolutely
different.
The only way before all this laser rangefinder stuff comes, you have to look at the terrain and see if there's a tree line, you try to know how far that is to know if it's in range. So.
I was wondering because one of the thermals I have, it doesn't have the laser rangefinder, but it has like objects, and so you can set it to say jackrabbit, or you can set it to hog, or you can set it to deer size animal, and I guess it can tell what target you're looking at, and it compares it to that, so it'll give you a yardage. But I never really trusted it. I didn't know how accurate.
I think it'd probably get close. I think you're supposed to try to hold it in between those two things, some measurements maybe, and it guesstimates the range from that.
But the built-in laser rangefinder is the way to go.
That is the way to go.
What do you have any brands you recommend that people start out with that aren't just like bank breakers? Because that's the whole thing, man. I know you get what you pay for in this thermal stuff. And
You sure do, and you let your pocketbook be your guide. You can spend $8,000 on one, or you can spend $2,000 on one. I just set up a rifle this week. It just came in today, a 22-250, and I got him a Rix Leap. Put it on there and got him a suppressor for it too, and I'll get it all zeroed in the last part of this week. So I think he paid, I don't know, for if you have to buy the whole setup, it gets pretty expensive. I think he spent over $4,500 putting this gun together. But he bought a rifle, suppressor, thermal, mounts, stuff like that. But you can get $3,500 for a thermal. You can get a decent one,
Pretty good,
and you can do everything you want to do with that: coyote hunting, hog hunting.
But it's different here versus what you see on TV out west. Coyote hunting, it's nowhere.
No, it's
a whole lot harder hunting here, I think.
I think so. I think there's a lot more pressure in Texas. I think predator hunting is way bigger in Texas than it is in Mississippi.
'Cause I've only tried it one time. It's been probably 20 years ago now. We didn't know what we was doing, but a coyote's not a dumb animal just gonna run out in front of you to shoot.
Absolutely,
They gonna go around behind you and try to wind you or whatever. But
I have hunted a lot of stuff, and coyote is by far the smartest animal I've ever hunted.
yeah,
So do you think the coyote hunting has a lot of similarities to turkey because you can actually call and you have to fool that animal?
Absolutely, they get the same look on their face when they figure it out.
What's the closest you've been able to call one up to you?
A coyote, I have shotgun 3 or 4. The closest one I've killed was probably 15 yards, maybe.
Oh, that's in your lap.
That is
Yeah.
nothing but a ditch splitting us.
Did you watch him come the whole way too?
No, he when they get that close, they just appear in front of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of how predator hunting is. You're scanning and looking, and all of a sudden it's standing there looking at you.
So what's more productive, day or night? Or it kind of depends on where you're at, I guess, too, probably.
It does. So the way I hunt, like this time of year, I hunt primarily day, primarily mornings. So I killed 54 coyotes. This is my first year to be really predator hunting. And I killed 54 coyotes. And up until about February, 90% of that was in the daytime. So when February gets here, it gets kind of breeding, mating, stuff like that. And the temperatures are good, the bugs aren't out. That's when I start really hunting heavy at night. And nighttime is the right time. They respond better. They come. They're comfortable at night. As long as it's not a full moon, they can't see you very good.
So what else besides your gun, your rifle, your thermal suppressor? What else do you need for a nighttime coyote hunt?
So I run a thermal spotter, but you don't.
That's your scanner.
Yeah, a scanner.
Yeah.
You don't have to have that. It makes it a lot easier. You don't have to stay in the gun looking the whole time. It's just a lot easier to cover a lot of ground per se with the scanner. And you need a call. A lot of people do it with hand calls, mouth calls, stuff like that. But I have a Fox Pro X24. That's what I use to call with. And you need a tripod, something to hold your rifle.
Are you running any lights at all, or is it just all?
So
thermal?
I have lights. In the summer, depending on what thermal you have, how much money you got invested in your thermal, when the humidity gets real high, it jacks with the thermal some. So you can use lights. So I have a headlight and a light that mounts onto my rifle.
And you're just scanning with that light on the whole time?
Scan with that light on the whole time, and you get it on them, and they don't pay it any attention. Come running straight into it.
Well, that was the unique thing I saw. I've been watching videos on. I just got really, intrigued by it, the way when they're shining these lights on them I guess it blinds them. It takes one of their senses away. Yep. They still got their smell, which is probably their keenest, but with that light on them at night, it almost makes them beeline to you when you see them. Yeah. And so I guess there was two trains of thoughts. Like one, you got these guys that all they want to do is light hunt, and you got some that are thermals. They just run thermals. But it seems to me that it would be a perfect, meet in the middle somewhere, especially if you got a partner. Like if it's one person, I could see where, it'd be hard to scan with lights and run thermals and all that. But if you got two people and the lights hide you so well, because that's the whole thing with them. When you turn this light on, they don't see the buggy behind you. They don't see you standing there. It's so bright. As long as you don't get 40, 50 feet outside that light, they're complete. They have no idea you're there unless they smell you, I guess. Yeah. So in your setups, what's the most important thing? Is it the wind? Is it the cover? Or
Absolutely, the wind is the most important thing. If you don't plan your set to call with the wind in your favor, you're wasting your time.
And how do you want it? You want the wind in your face? Or?
I kind of like a crosswind almost, and you want to be able to see downwind because the first thing those coyotes are going to do, they're going to try to get downwind of you and wind you and see exactly what you are.
Do you use any kind of cover scents, or you just go like clean clothes?
I don't think it would help if you used cover scent. You know, if you think about like canines that the police use and stuff, if there was a way to trick them,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
somebody would have
done
done
it. The drug kingpins would have figured that out.
You're not going. Their smell. You're just not going to fool them.
So, not for your big, like, I guess, predator hunters. I'm wanting to build a predator gun to keep at the house, just for like yard use.
For your chickens.
For my chickens, for whatever. I'm wanting to build, I don't know if you've seen the Henry Homesteader, the 9mm automatic rifle. Mm-hmm. And I want to build it with a suppressor and some type of optic. What do I do?
So you just you determine how much you want to spend on
just give me a checkbook.
Some of that budget first.
Yeah.
First thing you want to do, like I said, you can get some of these cheaper optics. ATN makes a pretty good budget optic.
See, I don't know that. Would you necessarily, like, in your backyard like that, would you want to fool with a thermal or just do like a red dot?
What is your range going to be? That would be my first question to you.
100 yards tops.
So you can get some of these tactical lights that they put on ARs all the time, and you can do everything you want to do.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was leaning towards, something quick and easy. You know,
not even messing.
Yeah,
with
if it's a coyote, bobcat, whatever, it comes up in the yard. You know, or rabid neighbor's dog.
You're almost shotgun range if you're getting in there, you know.
But it's so much cooler to say you shot with a 9mm suppressor. You
Absolutely.
know?
It'd be a lot quieter.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt your ears near as bad.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
So what is a good all-around
caliber?
Varmint caliber?
Yeah, that's my question.
So I'm partial to the 22 Creedmoor, but it's hard right now because they just Sammy-spec'd it. That just means that manufacturers can start making non-custom barrels for it. So
So
you're going to see a lot more of that caliber.
I think so. I think it's here to stay. I think
the 22 Creedmoor, I think, is going to outdo the 6.5. In my opinion,
it's going to be very popular.
So is it like a souped up 22 250 basically?
It is. You can shoot what's better about the 22 Creedmoor, I think, which you can do it with a 22 250 as well, is you get a lower twist weight barrel and you can shoot heavier bullets. And that's what drew me to it, is the wind deflection of those small 50 grain 22 250 bullets. They get blown around in the wind. You know, they're good 350 and in. You just hold it on there and pull the trigger. But if the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour, you know, you're going to have to
see, in my mind, you always think a lighter bullet will cut the wind.
Less. Yeah. It's not the case.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like a 18-wheeler going down the highway or a little Toyota with a camper shell on it. It's going to move that Toyota. It ain't going to move that 18-wheeler.
But you definitely think that 22 caliber is a good starting point for a varmint gun.
So if I was going to, somebody that doesn't reload, somebody that's not super gun savvy, I would probably lean them towards a 22 250. And that's what I built for this guy this week.
That's something that you can go pick up off the shelf.
Absolutely.
But the
ammo's available for it. You know, they have a wide range of grains and bullet weights. So
what's your thought on the 223?
I like a 223. I don't, it's not my cup of tea. I've never been an AR guy.
Yeah.
I've always been more of a bolt gun guy. So it just doesn't have enough knockdown power for me. I want to see my stuff go down right there.
Well, that, I mean, you get in the situation of, hey, you're out there and maybe a hog comes out. Absolutely. Or something else. Like, it don't hurt to have a little bit more oomph if you need it, you know? Because a hog will tote a 223. We done seen it done.
Yeah,
I've seen that a bunch.
So you going more, not trying to sound gross or nothing, but like body shot, head shot, or just kind of depends?
So,
because I'm still trying to visualize this little bitty bullet just blowing something down.
So in the front shoulders.
Yeah.
And you're probably shooting like an open tip match bullet, something that's going to dump all the energy.
Polymer tip match bullet is what it is.
So you're not even worried about penetration. It's going in and it's just coming apart.
You want it to explode.
Yeah.
Dump all that energy right there.
Have you had any getaway that you've hit?
I have.
Yeah.
Hit them back or hit them bad, something like that.
Still a
90% of the time, it's going to be me, not the bullet.
Yeah. Well, so that brings me back to, like, what range are you looking for, like yardage? What are you typically? Are you shooting 100 yards, or are you stretching on out?
So I don't like to see them leave.
Yeah.
I would love to shoot them all at 50 yards, but that's not really, that's not how it works every time. My furthest shots have actually been at night.
With the thermal.
With the thermal. In February, I killed one at like 403, and it had a mate with it, and it ran about 40 more yards, and I killed it at about 445.
Wow. So that's some distance right there at night.
Yeah.
So,
on an animal that's not that big.
Yeah.
They are not very big.
I mean, that definitely have to have the right equipment to make a shot like that. I know that when I got at 400 yards, you wouldn't know what it was.
So I couldn't have done it.
You couldn't tell if it was a coyote or a house dog or rabbit. That's just the way it looked. The depth perception's so tough on it.
It is. And that shot was made. I have a Vortex rangefinder that's weapon mounted, and it gives me my data too for my scope. And
does it adjust yours, or is it not?
It does not. I have to actually physically adjust my scope, but it tells me what to put it on because I have all those inputs put into it.
Yeah. So you're just dialing it and making that shot.
You couldn't make those without something like that. It's not telling you the distance.
How does that? So at the rangefinder is thermal too, where you can see your target.
So you zero the rangefinder to your reticle and your day scope. So it works with or without the thermal.
Okay.
So I just range it. I have a remote that's right beside my trigger on my rifle, and I just press that button, and it gives me the range and the data. I turn my rifle up.
All the accessories. That's why it weighs 20 pounds.
Yeah,
it is definitely heavy.
Oh no, I picked Zane's rifle up. He had it mounted. I think it was sitting up. We were moving, and I was like up front. We're trying to kill his hog. I was like, my God, what does that gun weigh?
It weighs somewhere in the neighborhood of 20, 22 pounds probably.
That's one of the heavier rifles I've ever picked up for a 22 Creedmoor.
Yeah.
But I bet it shoots smooth.
Oh, I bet it does.
That's good. It doesn't even move.
So you doing more? Are you getting in touch with people like, hey,
So if
you got predators, let me take care of them? Or I mean, used to back when I was a kid, it was several guys around here. They dog hunted, and got rid of predators for people. But you just don't hear that many people in our area, I guess, promoting or advertising it.
I think it's getting more popular now, but if you start killing a bunch and telling people and putting pictures on Facebook, you post a picture of 5 or 6 dogs you killed in a night on Facebook, somebody's going to send you a message like, hey, I got some cattle ground over here at Longtown. I need you to put me on the list.
I think people do get it deceived. I did it when I was younger. Like, hey, I'm just going to get a gun, a scope, and go out there, or a spotlight, and go out there and shoot at night. Nothing to shooting a coyote, but a couple of trips, you didn't realize you don't know what you're doing.
You figure it out pretty quick. They are very smart.
Need to go.
So how much land do you need to coyote hunt on? That was my question. Like, so I don't have. Well, I've got mine's broke up here. We've got every track's a little over 100 acres. But is that big enough that you could do some multiple sets on, or are you just looking at hunting it once?
So depending on if it's pretty open, I try to go a mile. If it's thick, maybe half a mile.
Yeah.
If you have coyotes using your place, because if you're deer hunting, turkey hunting, you're going to see them.
Oh, we hear them. That's our problem. We hear them and get up in these ditches.
And you are going to pull. Technically, you could be pulling them off the guy's property that's
Absolutely.
got cows beside you or whatever too.
So it's denning season now, so the coyotes are going to be a little less vocal, and that if you can get them to howl and pinpoint where that den is, where they got those pups, you can move in on them, and this is a really good time to actually work on them and get some good accomplished.
Now, when's the best? Let's just say most productive time of year to shoot a coyote. Call one in, shoot it.
My favorite time, and I think the best time to go is around the month of September. That's when they're raising these pups off. They're getting big enough to start making their own dumb decisions and fend for themselves and start feeding themselves.
So they push them out of the dens. They got to go find their own.
They start ranging. That makes them easy to call.
What about bobcats? How often you call them up? Or
So I went pretty much all summer and never called a bobcat up. So the first one I killed was in Tunica this year. I went over there with another predator hunter. He has a good bit more experience than me. I went over there to try to learn some stuff from him, and we called up two. I had not called up one all year. We called up two that night, and I killed both of them.
Hard on them, son.
I think I killed 5 bobcats and 5 fox.
And
Gray fox.
55 coyotes.
54.
54. You got me. I got 2 coyotes and a bobcat this year. That was off a deer stand.
I've killed 2 bobcats.
I'll ruin a good deer hunt.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
To shoot a bobcat or a coyote all day long.
I've shot coyotes in the field with deer out there.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Don't care. You'll pass the deer
be
up
all
to
right.
shoot a.
It doesn't matter
Shoot
what
one.
kind of hunt it is. If a coyote comes out, it's
Well,
a
it's not
coyote
that-
hunt then.
I guess other than humans, they have nothing
No
out to get them, I guess. And now that, like I said, there's not, I mean, it is probably some people picking up on doing it, but really it's not that many pressure on them as far as
I'd say
somebody out hunting
vehicles
them.
are the only other.
Yeah,
predator
that's
they got.
probably the number one thing kills them, isn't it?
Yeah, hitting them with cars.
Because I would imagine hunters don't do anything to the numbers of them.
Absolutely.
Like I know you've killed a bunch, but it's still so hard to. You'll never get rid of them.
No,
Like,
you
I don't-
can't.
Yeah.
So they do a thing where if you start working on them pretty good, they'll adapt and have more. They'll have more pups.
Well, it's kind of the same thing like Mark and Jody, all the coons, you know, the year after they trapped, it was months. We didn't see a coon. And then I guess the other adjacent property realized there's nothing there, and they just steady, move into that area.
That's
I guess
right. And
coyotes
if
doing the same
if
way.
you got prime habitat and you kill all the coyotes out of that habitat,
Something's coming.
somebody is going to move in there until they're like, why is there no coyotes here? And then I show up.
Shoot,
Put
I
the
bet I've
hurt
heard
on.
that one day me and Waylon was over there. It sounded like 55 was over there.
He thought they were chasing him. He was ready to start shooting over his shoulder, get away from them. Or do you also run traps too, besides doing any of the?
I have in the
All-
past, but I have not. Like I did a little coon trapping and stuff around the house, but I haven't actually targeted coyotes or bobcats in a long time.
That's what
can't
Mark's
run a-
pretty hard
You
on.
can't run a snare trap in Mississippi, can you?
You cannot. Well, it has to be 50% under the water, so you have to.
So you can't run a snare trap on land for coyotes.
That is correct.
Which I get that because it sure would be easier for a fawn to go right through it. And
Yeah,
that suck.
neighbor's dog.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Those snares are not very forgiving.
yeah.
We tried to do some sets with some, I guess,
Foothold.
foothold traps, but we never. The only thing we managed to catch on them was possums.
That goes back
Now
to
Mark's hard on them with the dog-proof traps.
yes.
The coyotes and the possums, that's the way to go, man. Do you also get after them pretty good?
The coons and possums.
Coons and possums,
Yeah,
yeah.
not coyotes,
Not
coons.
coyotes, coons, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I've killed a good many coons. I planted some chufa in the hayfield on the other side of y'all, and I killed like 17 coons in that spot because they were going through there and they were just picking up all my seeds.
Yeah.
I mean, it never even made because the coons were so bad. At it.
I started asking people about planting chufa for turkey, and that was the first question: do you have coons? I was like, well, yeah, we're Mississippi. There's how many do you want?
Yeah.
We can load you up some. He's like, well, you'll never have chufa because they will get to it before the turkeys ever get a chance to. And Dan, I mean, besides raiding the nest and doing, predating on the eggs, the raccoons are hard. They're hard on them.
They're tough.
Eating their food, eating their eggs. I mean,
I think a big coon will catch and kill a hen turkey too if it. Yeah,
Oh, 100%. I think it would too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they're pretty dang aggressive as it is, but you just look at the population of coons versus turkeys. I mean, I bet it's 3 to 4 to 1 pretty easily.
oh yeah,
At
probably
least.
way more than that.
So their
Way more than
odds
that.
are already stacked against them.
yeah.
Yeah, people don't socialize or think about a possum or coon eating
Oh.
meat.
Yeah.
Coon's just a cute little furry trash panda.
Yeah,
It don't hurt anything.
They'll eat whatever they can get their
that's
mouth
right.
on.
That's right.
We had a buddy. They killed every single one of his chickens.
Mhm.
Pulled his heads off. I guess they were trying to pull him through the
Pull them through the fence.
through the fence, and it ended up he just found his dead chickens.
I'm
They
telling
weren't in
you.
there.
That first year we lived in our house, our cameras went off on the front porch. It was late one night. And I got up and looked out the window, or I looked on the camera, and there was a coon on the front porch. So I was like, heck no. So I eased out to the front, and I opened the front blinds on the window and looked, and he was right there at the porch. I mean, right there by the window. And that big nasty rascal picked up a toad frog, and he just ripped the guts out of it and sit there and ate it right there on my front porch. And I told him, I said, you see that? I said, that's that cute little panda you think's just so cute, and you're mad at us for hunting. I said, them rascals don't care. They don't care where they're at or what they eat, and they going to eat.
I don't hesitate shooting them. I mean, I'm not going to run a deer hunt for shoot a raccoon. But
if it's slow.
It's a boring day, nothing else.
If I got my 22 with me.
I mean, you shoot a coon with a 28 nozzler, it's pretty entertaining.
I will shoot armadillo too. I'm bad on them too, though.
Yeah, they like to dig holes, and I step in them all the time.
Well, they trick me because I think it's turkeys tearing up the side of the trail. It's like, no, Zane's like, that's armadillo. That's armadillo. It's like, come on, man.
So somebody starting out, what is a good brand, maker, model that would be something that is budget minded? I mean, I know we're all fans of Tika, the new Ruger. What is it? The American.
Ruger American Gen 2, man. It's
a sweet shooting gun.
They are super popular. They're hard to get now. If you're not a big box store, you can't hardly get one.
Yeah.
So I like those. Tika is by far one of my favorite over the counter guns. They have been making their stuff to such a tight tolerance that you can order pre-fit barrels for it on a stock over the counter gun. That's unheard of. So.
Every Tika we've got has been a tack driver.
I had to have one that wouldn't shoot. Not one, and I own probably 6 of them.
I love my Christian Arms, but I'll flat tell you that Tika will outshoot that Christian Arms.
You think so?
Yep. That Tika CTR 100%, and that 260 will shoot circles around that 28 nozzler. But I think
as far as grouping,
I think it's a lot of it's just a big gun, a lot of recoil. It's not going to be that big a tack driver as that 260 is, in my opinion. But I also love my 350 Legend and that Ruger too. It is a tack driver.
Yeah. I've got the 223 and I got that one too, and I like both of them. The feel of them are so good. But you're talking about a $500 gun?
Yeah.
I mean, for the money, it's half the price of a Tika, and I don't know if they're going to stay that cheap by the way they're selling them. I mean, because I guess it was meant to be a budget-minded.
I mean, what other platform can you go pick up a Cerakote barrel? Threaded, fluted, a fluted bolt. You know, you have the oversized bolt knob. You have everything to build that gun to whatever you want for $500.
And it has a user adjustable cheek piece too,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Fit it to you.
And then like the ranch rifle I got, it's on AR style mag, so you have a limitless option on magazines and stuff like that now.
Put the drum in there.
Yeah, you could. Put a drum with 350 Legends, we'd be in trouble.
You don't want to come within 200 yards of you.
But what else we got going on? What did we miss last week? Me and Jamie was up at Scheels.
So y'all want to talk about Scheels. Y'all went up and did it was like a cook and learn for their employees, wasn't it?
Well, they have guns.
What did you think? So me and Mark got to go in the Bismarck Scheels back in December. And that's probably the coolest sporting goods store I've ever been in my life.
I agree. Scheels has been carrying our product for several years, and I've actually this past week, the first time I got to go in one of their stores, and I was like, when are y'all putting one in Mississippi?
It's unreal.
Where can you go buy anything from baseball bat to, the top of the line built gun, all in the same location? Each person in that department is very, very, very knowledgeable on what's in their department.
I was impressed by the way they train their employees.
I agree.
Because even when we went in the store, we had a lady talking to us in
she knew every department.
grilling department. And then we were over in the gun department. She happened to walk by, but she knew everything over there. I was looking at thermals. She could tell me about the thermals.
So that's what we
which
found
ones you're
out.
selling. Which ones
is you're trained for what you sell in your department, but if your department, whoever it touches up to, you do get knowledge on that. So if you're on the edge of your department, somebody said, "Hey, what about this grill? Or what about this gun? Or whatever." They got some knowledge enough to get you by till somebody gets over there.
Like none of the guys we had on our team worked in the grilling department.
Correct. One of them was
archery, one of them was in the gun department, and the other one was like a floor manager.
What's the closest Scheels to us? Do y'all know?
Oklahoma.
I ain't out that way very often, but we probably flew over it the other day. Yeah. But maybe they'll build some down here. But I have. Have y'all ordered anything from online?
I did.
Their shipping's fast.
Yeah, I did several years ago. Order some duck hunting stuff.
It was impressive to see how that store runs. Because, I was talking to one of the guys up there, and he's like, most people think of Scheels as just one big store. He's like, technically, it is from the outside. But once you get on the inside and see how the store runs, every department's its own store. So like the shoe department is its own Nike shoe outlet, you know. So like each department has its own branch underneath the umbrella of Scheels. And it's,
So is the firearms department like that? The gun department? It's all.
and I guarantee you, if they don't have it in stock, it don't exist.
And this isn't one of them stores, Zane, where you go in and you got to ask them to let you pick up a gun, and it's all behind a counter.
No.
You walk
me and
right
Mark
up
was
to
picking
it.
up.
There'd be a round of them right here beside me, and you can go and pick up every single gun.
We was
Already decked out.
comparing the weights of like Christian Arms and what was the other one?
Seekins.
Yeah, and just just the same caliber and just comparing the guns. And I mean, you can't do that nowhere around here in any store.
We don't have that in Mississippi.
No, I haven't been to this
We're too
store.
close to Memphis. You ain't never gonna have that.
Somebody take
We're
one of
lucky
those
they ain't
home.
behind glass and bars.
No,
You go to Academy.
if you're definitely anywhere near Scheels, traveling or whatever, it's definitely worth a stop.
Try one.
Definitely. Where else can you go buy a gun and ride a Ferris wheel all in the same store?
Dude, when we went in, they had a bowling alley where you could test out bowling balls and bowling shoes right there in the store. They got a batting cage. You want to test out a bat? Grab one and go swing it.
They're committed to sales.
They're committed.
Yeah,
that's
100%
very
they
well.
are.
Plus, your
business.
wife can shop in there. They got every clothes brand.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
it ain't like it's Sports and Warehouse or Buck and Bass or Bass Pro. It's strictly
Buck Bass, you went back 20 years.
Yeah,
I'm surprised you remember Buck and Bass. As
yeah.
young as you are.
man, I can remember we went up there when they first come out with the what was it, the Arctic Shield face mask that supposedly had the copper filaments in the mouth and they heat up when you breathe. They had a reefer unit sitting out there.
I do
You could put the
remember that.
mask on and you'd walk in, it was like -20, and they're like, you won't even get cold. Man, I got cold as crap.
Yeah,
that
I do
thing.
remember that.
But
That was years ago.
Heck yeah.
that's one of my topics coming up. We're gonna have for coming up on the podcast is what makes a good hunting store, and what's your least favorite, what's your favorite, what all the ones you've been into. Right now, Scheels takes cake.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to beat that one.
Sorry,
I mean, Bass
Academy.
Pro's
Sorry, Bass
cool.
Pro, but
Pyramid Bass Pro is cool if you just want to go look at stuff.
It's too touristy.
It is. It doesn't feel like a sporting goods store when you go in there.
what?
That's about it, man. Y'all are fixing to go do some bush
Yeah, I'm
hogging,
finna
aren't
team up Will. Will's already out bush hogging. I'm finna fall in behind him and catch up with him.
you gonna jump on the skid steer? I got to do a little video. I'm gonna cook one of them Rio breasts that we brought back, so we can put a video out. I ain't never ate Texas turkey like that. So, have you cooked any that you took home?
I have not. I cooked some the other day. I smoked it, but I have not broke into the Texas turkeys yet.
That's what I'm going for today. I'm gonna do a smoked Texas turkey breast, Rio bird. And see what
Me and Will will be back from bush hogging.
It ought to be done by the time
y'all.
y'all get through. We have a little snack. But if y'all, Mark, you want to tell everybody where they can find
Yeah,
us
man.
online?
Well, Zane, appreciate you coming by.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
man. Thank y'all so much for having
I
me.
mean, I spent like 10 grand just listening to it. I mean,
And it's always good, man. We get somebody local that can come on here and give you a different, perspective on things. It's always good. But man, y'all check us out on all the platforms. We got plenty of more content coming up. We got some recipes coming out. I know we got the 2-year review of the e-bike. I'm excited about that.
Zane was asking about the e-bike this morning.
And we filmed a lot, and I'm pretty sure y'all got footage of me almost wiping out some tractor ruts, so it ought to be good. But we appreciate y'all listening. If y'all got any questions, y'all shoot us a message. And other than that, we finna get to work.
That's right. So, Zane, we appreciate it, brother. Do you have a website or email address? If anybody has a question about a gun or anything, they could
Yeah,
shoot
absolutely.
you a
I
message.
have a Facebook page. It's Easy Defense. And the email address is easydefense224@gmail.com.
All right.
Shoot me a message. We'll try to work
Yeah,
something
if y'all,
out.
especially if y'all are in the North Mississippi area, you got any questions on guns, rifles, thermals, anything like that, or just want to check in on Zane, see how he's doing. But we're gonna get out of here, so we gone.